how do you think you're going to be able to create a level of safety and ease in your home if you don't feel safe in your body because there is literally someone creating chaos in your environment? If you've been trying to create a peaceful home but you realize that the chaos is not coming from your clutter but it's coming from people, then this video is for you because they may be silently sabotaging your organizing journey. I'm sharing 6 habits and behaviors that show up in emotionally abusive, toxic, and manipulative dynamics so you can identify if you're able to create a safe space or if they are sabotaging your organizing journey without even realizing it. A part of decluttering and organizing your physical space, your home, is also looking at how to create community, structure, camaraderie with the people that you live with. And we tend to create and be in relationship with people who may not be working towards the same goals that we're working towards. And so while you are trying to create peace, you may be living with someone or people that's creating chaos. And so this is going to be a counterintuitive process, and you're going to be feeling like you're pushing a rock up a hill because you're trying to create emotional safety, peace, a warm, welcoming environment while also decluttering, letting things go, creating order and structure while someone is sabotaging that. Whether they know it or not, whether it's intentional or malicious, is irrelevant. This is going to help you to be able to identify their behaviors and your patterns. So while you are creating new structures, while you are breaking down old ways of doing things and you're thinking about systems in a new way, you may have never thought about organizing or thought about what it means to have a system in your home. You're also able to think about what does it feel and look like to be in a safe space and share space with someone who's also trying to create structure. We want you to arrive at that place. One of the first places you're going to feel at home is in your physical body. And if you live in a chaotic space, if you live in a space with someone who needs to have control or is manipulative or emotionally abusive, then you are in a constant state of survival and you're in a constant state of chaos. And so how do you think you're going to be able to create a level of safety and ease in your home if you don't feel safe in your body because there is literally someone creating chaos in your environment? And this is, again, when I talk about organizing, I'm talking about decluttering. We're thinking about all of the elements that have to do with home, that have to do with safety, that have to do with peace, order, and structure. Communication is just as important as like the organizing products that you're going to have. Like all of these things interconnect. And so one of the first patterns is your pattern that I want you to look at. And when you are living with someone who's controlling, manipulative, possibly emotionally abusive or toxic, your pattern is you seek external validation. You seek external validation. And so this pattern of yours is going to drive you crazy because you are going to be fixing things in the house. You are going to be doing this and that. You are thinking from a place of, we're doing this together. We're going down this path to create peace, right? You believe that you're on the same page about something, but when you are the type of person who seeks external validation, then you are not going to be seeing that they're just feeding off of that, right? And so the pattern that I want you to be aware of within yourself is that they give validation sparingly. They are not going to tell you, good job, this looks great, this works great. They're not going to give you affirming words. They're not going to validate whatever good you're trying to do in the space. You're not going to get that validation. And this is really important to see that dynamic because it's going to be a push and pull, and you're going to constantly feel like what you're doing isn't good enough. And so if you're the type of person, and again, this is in me, this is how I know it so well, right? This is something that I've had to overcome. When you seek external validation, you tend to attract relationships and situations where you are constantly feeling unappreciated, not seen, and often this is a tool of control, and this is often used to kind of keep you in a space of wanting to give, because if you're seeking validation and this other person is not validating you, they're not appreciating the things that you're doing, showing any gratitude to your efforts, then you're going to constantly be trying to do things to get their approval, to get their likeness, right? And so this is a really important pattern, because again, you're going to be looking for the next best thing to try to impress them, to try to get, and it could be subconscious in you too, but you're going to constantly trying to try different things to get them to see you, to get them to see that no, this is why having an organized home is worth it. This is why it's going to be helpful for you. You're going to be in this constant loop of trying to better the space for them because you're seeking their validation, when you're not realizing like they don't care and they actually just want to keep you kind of in this place of chasing them. And so that is the first pattern. You seek external validation. If you want to know if you are dealing with someone who is toxic, manipulative, controlling, or potentially emotionally abusive, their behavior is they are inconsistent. And so, with the last example, something that they could be inconsistent with is giving you praise, saying thank you, showing you appreciation. They will breadcrumb you in this specific way where one day they are appreciative. It seems like they recognize the work that you're doing. They recognize the benefit of, what you do around the house. They praise you for your efforts. Maybe you hear them talking about you to someone else. And then another day they're cold, they're callous, or they're giving you a backhand compliment or undermining something that you've done. In order for you to be able to spot these type of people later, you want to think about, like, you want to observe the behavior of just inconsistency in the treatment, inconsistency in the words, inconsistency in the things that they do and that they say, and there's going to be a mismatch. And so when you are trying to like organize your space, improve your space, when you're trying to better your environment, especially for the sake of everyone around you, that push and pull is going to show up here. It's going to feel like you're pushing a rock up a hill, because it is hard to declutter things. It is hard to look at why you're keeping things. It is emotional labor to sort through old high school things. It is a lot of work to try to create order when you have kids. And so it's nice to get praise and appreciation, right? Like, this is wonderful. And sometimes you have to be that for yourself. But when you're around someone who is inconsistent with that, one day they're appreciative, one day they're thankful and grateful, and another day they're distant, cold, mean, or even, again, disrespectful even too. This is how you kind of know, like, oh, this person is manipulative, this person is controlling, this is emotional abuse. You are going to want to spot what they say and what they do and how it is just not matching up. And so I want you to be able to see this behavior, because you can also spot this in toxic work, in toxic bosses and work environments, in friends, and in friends that are in secret competition with you, or with people who actually do not like you, family, partners. Like, you'll be able to see this specific behavior, someone who's inconsistent in their treatment and what they do. You'll be able to identify, like, oh, someone around me, someone else has this same exact behavior, and this is the type of person that's not good for me, that's not on my team like they're appearing to be. Now we're going to go back to a pattern of yours. You look to past experiences to justify their bad behavior and mistreatment. When somebody is consistently mean, you have to believe them. When you have to see situations and people for what they are, you look at what they do currently, their treatment towards you when things aren't going their way, when they feel like they can't get anything from you, or they feel like you have no value. Like, this is how you kind of identify, like, oh, this is how they would treat me for real. Like, now that they feel like I'm not useful. This is really key, because something that when you're a good person, or if you're just kind of having a veil, or you have those rose colored glasses on, if you have to constantly look at like someone's past good behavior to justify their current behavior, like, oh no, they're just having a tough time, or or this just happened, or if you constantly have to say, okay, but 5 years ago or 2 years ago or last year they did this nice thing, they said this nice thing, they're nice, they're good, no, they are a good person. When you constantly have to do that as a means to justify their current bad behavior and mistreatment, this is something that a pattern for you, because you can't change them. You can't change their behavior. Yes, you can observe it, but you also want to think about how you are upkeeping this relationship and seeing how your pattern is like, I am constantly trying to justify someone's bad treatment towards me, their consistent bad treatment towards me. This is not a moment. This is their character. This is who they are. And so when you are trying to create a space that is livable, that is peaceful for the both of you, and you're not being treated well or right just as a human, you want to be able to say, oh, this is something that I often do. This I often excuse people's bad behavior. I often excuse their mistreatment of me in order to say, okay, no, this is, I'm just going to move on for this. Because what this happens is, not only does it mess with your sense of self and your confidence and your self-worth, but it also burns you out. It keeps you on this hamster wheel of trying to go, 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 do. Like, I'm going to just kind of clean more, organize more, do more, buy more, decorate more. You're going to go into overdrive doing more to overcompensate and make up for this mistreatment. And almost, to go back to the first one, because if we're seeking validation, you're gonna try to like confirm, like, oh no, I'm a good person, or even prove to yourself, like, oh no, to override their character and their bad treatment, like, oh no, I'm good, I'm not crazy, I'm good. Let me make sure that I'm not earning this bad treatment. Let me make sure that I'm not doing something. This is really, really key, because again, if I'm your organizer and I want to help you clear your space, declutter the things that no longer serve you, create order and structure and systems that help you to be your best selves, but you're going in overdrive because you're living with someone or people whose treatment towards you is consistently mean, right? And they consistently have bad behavior, then there is no organizing hack, there is no organizing tip that's going to be able, you're not going to be able to out organize that burnout. This is a behavior that you want to observe, and this is someone who does not apologize, does not take accountability, and does not take ownership in the impact of their actions, their words, and the energy that they put out there. And so this is, I mean, when it comes to living and sharing space and being able to, we're all accountable for this home that we live in, this home that we want to keep nice and good and clean. When you live with someone who does, or people who don't take accountability, who don't take ownership for the actions or their lack of actions, and they don't acknowledge what they have done, when or if they have done wrong, this makes it impossible to build a real intimate relationship with someone. In order to create the type of homes we're trying to create, ones that are, yes, organized, ones that are, yes, clean and beautiful, but also ones that we can use to uplift our entire family, our entire community, where we're breaking generational patterns. These are the type of homes that we're trying to create. We are doing more than making things look pretty. They need to feel good, but they also need to help us elevate and help us build legacy and pass on to the next generation. This is what we are creating. And so when you are living in a space with someone who does not take accountability, it's like, who are you accountable for? Who are you accountable to? And so this also messes with your head, because again, you're going to go into overdrive trying to make up for the accountability that they're not taking, but also you end up doing this job of managing this home alone. No one person should be responsible for managing a home unless they want to. And even then, if you want to, I would argue, like, why do you want to do this on your own? But that's another video. But the point here is, you need to live in a home where everyone is accountable for the home. Everyone wants to be accountable for their home. So if you are living with someone or people who just innately, a part of their character is, it's everyone's fault. It's everyone, it's everyone's fault but theirs, or it's something external. It's never something internal. It's always work, it's always family, it's always friends, it's always the weather, it's always the train. Like, it's always something that's on the outside of them. And another part of a person like this and their behavior that you want to observe is, often, if or when they do take accountability in the moments that they do, it might possibly like, we need to take accountability, right? Like, we are responsible for like this, where we're at. And it's just like, oh no, baby, if you know that you are doing the brunt of the cleaning, the brunt of the organizing, like you're doing all the planning, you're creating the systems, you're the one going out, you're the one doing the mood boards, you're the one researching things, you're the one doing all the saves, you are the one making all the purchases, doing all the planning, doing all of the cleaning in the space. Yet when it gets messy, or when it is disorderly, or when communication gets cracked on how things are supposed to be, when the week gets crazy or whatever, and you want to hold this person or persons accountable for what they didn't do, not upholding their responsibilities in the household or what have you, then if in the moment they are taking ownership and it becomes a we have to do better, that's they're still not taking accountability. And this is another behavior that you want to observe, to be able to know that you're dealing with someone who is toxic, manipulative, controlling, or potentially abusive. Like, how did this become a we? I'm doing my part. I cleaned. I took out the trash when I was supposed to take out the trash on Tuesdays. You supposed to take it out on Wednesdays. How did this become a we got to do better? How did this become a me and you thing? And so this is something that you want to be aware of, especially with other relationships, because you will deal with bosses, you will deal with friends, you will deal with other relationships, other family members, other partners. You will be tested on, did you recognize this behavior, that some people do this? Because you will continue to meet people and have situations where people are not taking accountability for the things that they've done, the things that they said, and acknowledging the impact of their actions, lack of actions, or the energy or lack of energy that they're contributing. Super key. Look out for this one. We're going to switch back to your pattern. This one is going to be a little touchy, but the pattern that you may have of you don't even bother having them take accountability. This one is tough, because if you live with someone or people that refuse to take accountability, they get defensive, they switch it, they try to make it a collective thing. It is exhausting, and it is nearly impossible to be in a relationship with someone like this, who is essentially emotionally immature and unable to take accountability, or refuses to take accountability. And so you just give up, you just give in. And that's exactly, this serves them, because you end up actually doing more emotional labor. You end up overcompensating and do more work, because now you're still, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, you're giving them the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, they didn't know. Oh, it's too late, I'm not going to talk to them. Oh, it's too early. Oh, they had a busy day. Or they're upset, or they're a little sad today, or they're going through a lot. Like, you're going to this, and this is a pattern to recognizing yourself, because you're going to find all of the reasons why talking to them is useless. And so this is an important pattern to recognizing yourself, because again, if you choose to remain living with this person, if you choose to, or if you have to live with them, you want to recognize how you shrink, right? This is being able to hold someone accountable, or just have hard conversations. You want to be able to like show up in your life and not cower because someone else is unable to show up, right? Like, sometimes it's not about, you can't force anybody to apologize, you can't force anyone to take accountability, right? But you can definitely point out, like, hey, that thing you did was outrageous, that thing you did was not okay. You can still point out your concerns, how you feel, and point out, this behavior, this thing that you're doing is whack, this is not cool. You always want to be standing in your power and standing in your truth, and make this a habit. And so if it's a pattern of yours to just kind of like, I'm not even going to hold this person accountable, this is also a sign that you're definitely, dealing with a toxic, you're in a toxic dynamic, or you're dealing with a potentially emotionally abusive or manipulative, controlling person. Building and creating a safe, comfortable, peaceful environment that you can retreat to, that y'all can retreat to, is going to be damn near impossible, because there is so much chaos around not even taking accountability. So this is important to know, especially as you prepare to declutter, or while you declutter. And finally, the last behavior is their behavior where they see themselves as the victim. And this is largely why they can't take accountability, because in their world, they are the victim. they cannot be sorry for something that was done to them. If you have tried to get someone to take accountability and they've gotten defensive, maybe called you disrespectful or turned it on you or even blamed you for what they said, you are dealing with someone that is toxic. And if you know, if you're living with someone or people who are like this, right, and you have the pattern of not have, just, you don't ask them to take accountability, right, this is in a way that we enable these type of toxic dynamics. Because if you are living with someone who just everything is happening to them and they are the victim, how can you create a better home? How can you keep it, or how can you organize? How can you clean? How can you make any improvements in your life, in the home, in the space that you share together, if you're living with someone who sees themselves as the victim? And it is going to be an uphill battle to try to reconcile, to create community, to create a level of responsibility when something is always happening to that person. They can say the nastiest, most meanest, the rudest, the most unhinged comment, or do the meanest, most inconsiderate, the just the most thoughtless thing, and if you bring it up to them, not only will they not take accountability, but they will tell you all the reasons why. If they don't blame you for why they did what they did or said what they said, they're going to bring up all of the reasons why it happened. They'll do everything but apologize, take ownership or responsibility. They'll blame how they were raised. They would say, this is just the way that I am. Maybe they'll say, oh, this is my culture. They would say, this is how my mom and dad did it. You don't understand me. This is how I always did it. Or you're overthinking it. You're being too sensitive. You're doing too much. It's going to be everything but acknowledging, like, oh, this is something that I need to improve. This is something that I literally, if I'm the common denominator, this is something that I need to do better in. Or I literally disappointed this person in this way. Let me just own up to that. This is something that I think we all struggle with, is being comfortable with knowing that we're going to disappoint each other, and being comfortable with that. We're just going to disappoint each other. There's no way around that. We are all human. The difference is when you're dealing with someone who is just a professional victim, or they find a reason to, they find every way to center themselves in every situation. This is chronic, right? This is not just the thing that we all kind of like, oh, I don't want to disappoint them, I don't want to hurt them, right? Like we all kind of do that. But again, when it's consistent, when it's constant, when it's so difficult for them to just take ownership and responsibility for the way that they showed up, the thing that they did or didn't do, and rather blame or excuse everything but apologize. This is how you know you're dealing with someone who is potentially manipulative, emotionally abusive, manipulative, controlling. And so this concludes the last pattern of behavior. The goal of this video is, yes, I really want you to be able to identify when you are in a situation, when you're living with someone or people that is manipulative, that's controlling, that's potentially emotionally abusive, because you in danger, girl. Okay, no, that's not funny. That's not funny. It's just the thing that, I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry. And you can be working towards building this home, watching this video, subscribe to this channel, and there's going to be a point where you're trying to get deeper, you're trying to go further in your organizing process, and you keep hitting this wall. And at some point you have to kind of look around you, like, what in my environment, what's around me, who's influencing me, where is my energy being directed? Why do I not have energy to do these things? Why am I so drained? Sometimes it's work, sometimes it's the baby, sometimes it's family, and sometimes it's the partner. And often it's a hard pill to swallow, because you're working towards this end goal of trying to create this home for us. It's like, I'm trying to create this home for us, and you realize, oh, this person is actually self-centered. This person is actually centering themselves and not thinking about the same things that I'm thinking about. And it could be a tough pill to swallow. The reason I made this, because I want you to be able to identify these toxic dynamics, and also to get you quicker to this space that feels good and looks good, right? We don't want it to just look good. We want it to feel good as it looks, and that includes people and persons that are working towards the same goal and care about the same things. And sometimes these deeper, more the harder concepts unrelated to organizing or indirectly related to organizing and decluttering need to be addressed just as much as the Amazon finds and going to the container store. So now that you've started the process of decluttering your life, your mind, your heart, and your spirit from emotional abuse or a manipulative partner or people, I want to talk about how to regain trust in yourself after divorce, after separation, after a long-term relationship. And we're going to talk about how to trust yourself again as you reclaim and redefine your style. Something a little lighter, something a little fun. So that's our next video. So watch that. See you then.